But let's move on. Let's talk about the team that, Sean, you said is their... Let me see if I remember this correctly. That their stadium is built on an Indian burial ground?
It has to be.
Because they usually get bad luck. However, tonight... Did they just get the steals of the draft? And that is the Washington Redskins, because at 15, they get Dwayne Haskins, who on many boards, mine included, is the second best quarterback. And then also at 26, got, in my mind, a top 10 pick at 26 in Montez Sweat. Did they just get the steal of the draft and win the first round?
The thing is, I don't know if I can call it a steal, because you look at the way it panned out, and it shouldn't have been a steal. It's just more of a fuck up from the Giants. And I say that they're buried on an Indian burial ground because, one, that would just be ironic with their name. Yeah. They have Dan Snyder as the owner, which is payback for something.
But also, RG3 gets injured.
RG3 gets injured. You give $100 million to Fatso Albert Hainsworth, and he's horrible.
They also have a good season this year, and then Alex Smith breaks his leg.
Exactly. So, they're just the worst of luck for Washington. And then also, you just have a horrible owner. So it's and I think it was more like the Giants clearly had all right, take Dwayne Haskins. Mm-hmm. And the Redskins were even thinking about trading up to 3 to get him. That's how badly they want him. So they really got more of a gift than I think a steal. They were lucky to get him at 15. But, I mean, hey, he fell to 15. You shot your shot, and you hit a bullseye. That's the kid you wanted. You got him at 15. You didn't have to give up any assets, which I absolutely love. Yeah, and since they were already in that mind of getting assets to go get Dwayne Haskins, they still felt like they could be spenders, and they went out in the which deal was this? The 26th pick with the Indianapolis Colts. They traded with Washington. They got the 26th pick and gave up the 46th and 2020 second rounder, which I thought was a fairly decent trade because they get Montez Sweat, a guy who in our live draft I picked at 7 for the Jaguars, and he was falling because apparently of his heart condition. But there was also a report coming out that said teams cleared it and that it was a misdiagnosis. Yep. So, and we also saw Mo Hurst, a guy who was on MVP 2 years ago as
friend
a Michigan,
of the show, or friend of the channel, I should say.
Yeah, as a Michigan guy. He fell all the way to the 5th round because of a heart condition, but he played well for the Rangers last year. So if Montez Sweat is not dealing with a heart condition, 26 is an absolute steal for him. I mean, you don't get guys who are built that way and are that fast, that quick, that agile, and that strong as well. With that wingspan, he's like a 6'7", 6'8" wingspan. I mean, dude
should be playing basketball.
Dude's massive. Yeah, seriously. So I mean, I think it's a really impressive draft from the Redskins. They got 2 guys that I think are going to be really huge playmakers for them. They lost Preston Smith to the Green Bay Packers, and you get a guy in Montez Sweat who can be an edge rusher for them on the outside and really create some havoc. And you add that to their boy who they took last year, Deron Payne, who was one of the best defensive tackles last year, at least rookie-wise, probably the best rookie defensive tackle last year. And you're adding that to that line. I think that you look at the Redskins and the way they've really built up. They add Landon Collins as well. You have Josh Norman out there. I think it's a really impressive draft so far for the Redskins. And I think that we'll probably talk about this a little bit later, but I think they probably had one of the best drafts. And they really got a gift at 15, and they just made a smart move trading up for a guy who was falling. No,
and the thing I'm thinking about with the Redskins is, first off, absolute effing steal with this, because Dwayne Haskins, to me, I am shocked, by the way, that because earlier this week on the Onside Kick, I said to Brandon, who was on that show with me, I said, I will be shocked if the Redskins don't trade up for a quarterback. I was all certain that they were going to trade up for a quarterback. They're trading with the Jets. They're going to get Dwayne Haskins, because I thought that was the only way they were going to get him. I didn't see what we just talked about earlier with the Giants taking Daniel Jones over Dwayne Haskins. And I totally see Montez Sweat. I know the heart condition. Some people all through the draft process have been like, oh, it's been a bad thing. I've never seen it as a bad thing, because even Star Latuile had a heart condition. He's still pumping. And pun intended, still pumping. And you get a top 10 talent at 24.
You arguably get 2.
Tell me what the Redskins gave up again for
46,
Sweat?
which was second rounder, and then which is the whatever pick, 13th pick in the 13th pick in the second round.
Yeah,
and then the 2020 second rounder.
Okay, so the only thing for me that it sucks, but it doesn't suck, because what could you have gotten with that 46 pick that's better than Montez Sweat?
Nothing.
At 26. Nothing. So it's if I'm them, I'm fine waiting until 77, which is their next pick, And even if they want to package their 2 third-rounders to try to move up, they can do that if they want to. But I'm totally fine with it. And it's just like, what are they going to do? What wide receiver are they going to take in the 3rd round? Because this team, to me, I can't wait to see them now, especially offensive, because Case Keenum, I don't think, plays the whole year.
Yeah.
I think Dwayne Haskins come in, and they're getting Darius Geis back.
He might win that job right out.
Yeah,
outright.
well, I mean, no, Dwayne Haskins could.
He could.
He could. I think he's
Case?
better than Case Keenum.
I mean, what is Case didn't do nothing last year, and he's only getting paid $3 million for the Redskins, I think.
I think Case is a decent quarterback. I don't know that Dwayne Haskins is that. I don't know. You guys are very high opinion.
I think he can win it.
I think he can win it. I mean, it's dependent on how ready he is. Like,
Alright.
I mean, he's a guy with an NFL arm, so it's how well does Gruden trust him? Because if Jay Gruden's trusting that, I believe that he can perform. Because I mean, Jay Gruden has had success in Washington with his quarterback so far. Kirk Cousins played well. I think he obviously got overpaid, but he still played well in Washington. Wasn't a leader on the field, but that was more of Kirk's fault. He put him in positions for Kirk to win. And Alex Smith obviously had that eye to go out and get Alex Smith, and Alex Smith was playing well before he got injured. So I look at this position that the Redskins are in. I would have hated if they traded up because you just signed Alex Smith to a 4-year, $94 million contract, and you gave up picks to get him as well, and Kendall Fuller, who was a corner I really liked. So I was iffy on that. So the fact that they got Haskins and didn't have to give anything up for him, I really like that because you didn't give up much to get Case Keenum. Colt McCoy was already on the squad, and now you have 2 guys who have proven to be decent backups at least before. And you have Dwayne Haskins, who, if Case Keenum does have to start a couple, games for you, so be it. But at some point, I feel Haskins can be the starter this year for the Redskins. And I think ultimately it's just going to be proven on whether he's ready this year. But the fact that they didn't give up any assets to get him, absolute gift.
And you know what?
Because if they traded up and got him, I still would have thought it was a good pick. But the fact that they got that, I think that's what I'm calling
It's
it.
value.
Well, and here's the thing with that. Now that I'm looking at their schedule, unless Dwayne Haskins blows the doors off this offseason, I'm actually fine with starting Case Keenum looking at their schedule because here's the first 5 games they play. And tell me if you want Dwayne Haskins starting his career off against this. At Philly.
Nope.
Home against Dallas.
Nope.
Home against Chicago on Monday night.
No.
At New York playing the Giants.
Yes.
Probably.
Home against New England.
Oof.
That's your first 5 games.
You could.
I would be
start him in
fine
that,
starting Case, and then after that you get like Miami, San Francisco, Minnesota. Those are tougher, but like Buffalo, the Jets, the Lions, like the back end is a little soft.
My
can't protect him
counter
forever.
to that would be you can't protect him forever, and this defense is decent. So the Cowboys really don't scare me that much. Their defense
Depends on what offensive weapons you had,
their
too.
defense has improved, but I don't think they're that scary. The Bears scare me just because they can obliterate them. That's the only one I'd be worried about. But I mean, even the Patriots are a good team. They'll probably lose to the Patriots, but I don't think they have a dangerous pass rush will put him in too much danger. He might not be able to read schemes. He might not be able to read the plans they're throwing at him and stuff like that. Obviously, Goff had a tough time doing that, and he was a 2-year pro playing with the offensive genius Sean McVay. But I think ultimately you got to play him at some point this year because I mean I think talent-wise he's better than Dwayne or he's better than Case Keenum, and that's not really saying much. So
I mean, part of me looks at those first 5 games and you go, yes, you can't protect him forever, but do you protect him to start his career?
But who's going to give you a better chance to win?
Case Keenum.
He might not. I mean, Case Keenum was throwing a ton of picks last year.
A ton of picks? I mean, he didn't have the year like he did in Minnesota, but he still wasn't a bad quarterback for the NFL standards.
I think it was a Denver problem.
Yeah.
I think it was Denver's problem.
They sort of shit the bed as far as quarterbacks for the last 5 years, haven't they?
18 touchdowns to 15 interceptions.
Yeah, but in Minnesota with Pat Shurmur, he was pretty good.
But he won't have Pat Shurmur. I mean, he will have Jay Gruden, who's better than whoever they had fucking.
And didn't Jay Gruden actually say, like, Haskins probably needs a year to sit, like, publicly at the owners' meeting, I think?
I didn't hear that.
I think he had a comment. Someone in the comment section will tell me if they did. I'm just saying, like, you're underrating the value of a veteran starter, I think. And I don't think Case Keenum's anything special.
Yeah.
I just think that if Jay Gruden doesn't feel comfortable with him out there starting day one, I could see Case Keenum going out there and starting 8 games and then flipping, or however many games till the point where you're sick of Case Keenum.
That's my thing. Is just I think talent-wise he's better than Case Keenum.
upside, he's got better upside.
Yeah.
I don't think talent-wise. I think Case Keenum knows how to read NFL defenses. I think Case
But
Keenum
if
knows
we're
how to
talking-
run an offense.
If we're talking arm talent, if we're just talking strictly talent,
If you're asking about a guy to throw the ball down the field, you're going to get Jacoby Brissett.
The quote
Luck
from
was injured.
I'm just having fun, man.
the quote from Jay Gruden is, if you're the 15th pick in the draft, I think you have to give him an opportunity. He has all the tools to be an exceptional quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
Did he say that at the owners' meeting?
It depends on. That's just the article that was written tonight.
I wouldn't.
So, no.
I wouldn't bat an eye if Keenum started the whole season. I wouldn't bat an eye if Haskins started the whole season. That's what I'll say. Because either way, I could see an understandable reason. But Montez Sweat, home run.
Yeah, no,
Love
I
that.
love the Montez Sweat pick
Great
at the
pick.
end of the first round. I think he's a guy with incredible upside, like you said.
I just don't know why the Colts didn't go get him.
Super big, super strong, super long, super quick.
Colts wanted more draft picks.
But also, Montez Sweat's pretty fucking good.
Yeah,
And
that one,
and
they
I
might
don't think
regret
they
that
have a
one.
dangerous pass rusher.
We
yet,
literally mocked
right?
Montez Sweat 14 picks in a row. We're like, so he could
Yeah.
go here, right?
Yeah, every single pick was just like, yep, Montez Sweat's a
He
fit.
could fit here.
But yeah, I don't think Indianapolis has. They have a pretty good secondary and they have a good linebacking core. But I don't think they have a dangerous pass rusher.
Yeah, I mean, they just got Justin Houston. They do
That's
have
right.
Darius Leonard.
Leonard's
but
more of a
yeah,
linebacker.
but
though,
on the line, like their defensive ends are Jabal Sheard and Taquan Lewis. So I mean, I would rather have Taquan Lewis and Montez Sweat if I'm the Colts. But yet again, they might have been looking to add stuff and
yeah.
really liked having that second rounder. The thing I'm kind of thinking in my head, and I want to bounce this off of you guys.
Sure.
Redskins in the third round, they got 2 picks, 77
Wide receiver,
and
wide
97.
receiver.
Is it wide receiver? Because I'm thinking about it. Add talent because
They need at least one of those has to be wide
like
receiver.
Doxson has not been what you wanted, and like besides that, you don't have weapons besides getting Darius Geis back and maybe like Jordan
Payne.
Reed.
Yep.
But Reed's always injured.
Your wide receivers, exactly. Your wide receivers are Josh Doxson, who hasn't produced since you drafted him, Paul Richardson, who's coming over from Seattle, and then Darvin Kinsley, which it's like shouldn't be one of your starters. So to me, it's like I look third round, one of those has to be a wide receiver, right?
The thing that I Dave, you're gonna love this. I think Andy Isabella would be an interesting ad in the third round. Because well, you're talking about a guy who can take the defensive,
Take the top off
take the top of a defense.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're working with him enough, I think he could work in the slot. Clearly, smaller guy, but him going over the middle, I think you could really mismatch him against like linebackers if he's on him with his speed. So he'd
Until he
be an
gets
interesting guy.
obliterated once and never sees the field again.
Yeah, and I
Don't Wes Welker him.
And I also think that that Paris Campbell could be that guy as well. Really good after the catch.
Well,
if you get him
we've
out in
got that
space,
hookup
you
together
obviously
now.
have Haskins and him, or even Debo Samuel. But I don't think Samuel's going to be available in the third. So I think those guys would be the guys that I would look for guys who can work inside the field.
But you know who could be there? Miles
Is it
Boykin.
Crowder?
No, they don't.
Crowder's. Do you go to the Jets?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if Crowder was still there, that'd be fun. But I don't think Boykin's the pick there. I think Boykin's more of an outside guy. And I think you with the way that
Like, is Paul Richardson really a solid number 2 for you? Like,
no,
that's what I'm thinking.
but with the number 2, the number 2 doesn't strictly need to play on the outside. The best weapon the Patriots have right now is Julian Edelman. He's going to work inside the slot.
True.
You just want to put the guys in the position that they're going to do best in. And I think that not only is Edelman in the slot because that's where he works best, but that's also where Brady's looking all the time. So you can put your best weapon in the slot. So at least for that type of quarterback, and Tom Brady. And I think that's where Haskins is going to work best as well, when the guy that has the most talent is working in the slot. I think that's where they're going to end up looking for him. So,
You know what I would absolutely love for them? Is if Paris Campbell fell. If Paris Campbell fell to them at 3, and then you get, hey, he worked with Dwayne Haskins. He's a speedy slot guy, kind of like the Isabella thing. The only question is Paris Campbell going to fall into the second round? Because I wasn't expecting DK Metcalf, I keep wanting to call him DJ, DK Metcalf or even like A.J. Brown to fall to the second round, but they did. Mm-hmm. Like,
well, and that's the one thing that you look with Sweat too is just like, now would you regret it because A.J. Brown in the slot would be interesting. But hey, I still love Sweat more than I love A.J. Brown, so I like the pick.
I go ahead and take Sweat all day, every day there. I don't go wide receiver because I can get one later on. Last question I'll ask you guys about the Redskins is schedule's a little tough. Like I said, they've got Eagles, Cowboys, Bears, Giants, Patriots to start. They have a softer middle with the 49ers and Vikings being the tough teams. And then they end with a tough stretch of like Carolina, Green Bay, Philly, and Dallas. Is this a team, let's say Dwayne Haskins starts day one, is this a team that could be in a playoff race this year with a rookie Dwayne Haskins or even with a Case Keenum?
I don't think so because I think at best they go 1-3 against Dallas and Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. So immediately you're already, even if you have a similar record, you don't have the edge head to head.
Maybe go 3-3 if you can beat the Giants twice. Like 3-3 in that division.
I still think it's a couple years away, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, you have most of your playmakers locked up for a while. So I think that they can be an interesting team. I think 7-9 at best, but it's still not a bad season for the Redskins. Especially, I think the biggest thing is if you see growth and people stay healthy, it's a great season for them.
Does Dwayne Haskins play this year?
Yes.
Probably, yeah.
Beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year?
End of the year.
So Dave says end of the year. Dave's also saying, for the audio listeners, he downvoted the playoffs.
That's why he's going to play at the end of the year, because they're not going to be in the playoffs.
I think at worst he starts week 6.
Okay.
I could see him starting week 1.
Kind of like what we were thinking. So that Miami game, he is starting after the tough stretch. But Redskin fans, this is what you guys comment. Let us know what you think down below. Did you guys get the steal of the draft? How you looking going into day 2 of the draft? Are you happy, not happy? I don't know if any Redskin fans are going to say they're not happy. But if you are, let us know what you're thinking down below in that comment section.